Nestled between the emerald hills and winding rivers, the small town was a tapestry of gentle beauty and quiet pride. The golden plate stood at its heart, a beacon of luxury and refinement. Each evening, its windows glowed with the warmth of golden light. Inside, laughter echoed and crystal glasses chimed as the town's elite gathered, their silk dresses and tailored suits catching the glimmer of chandelier light. For many, dining at the golden plate was not merely a meal. It was an affirmation of place and prestige, a subtle declaration that one had arrived. On a day when rain tapped softly against the glass, the restaurant was nearly full, alive with the murmur of conversation and the clatter of fine china. Suddenly, a loud creak punctured the harmony as the door opened, ushering in a gust of cold air and a stranger. He was old, his face lined with stories, his clothes threadbare and torn, his shoes heavy with mud from the storm outside. His hair was tangled, and in his weathered hand he gripped a walking stick, worn smooth by years of use. He paused at the entrance, his presence a stark contrast to the polished elegance surrounding him. A hush fell over the foyer as the waiter at the door frowned, exchanging uneasy whispers with his colleague. Their voices were low, but their meaning was clear. This man did not belong. The hostess hesitated, her eyes darting nervously across the room, sensing the discomfort his appearance caused among their valued guests. One waiter, emboldened by the moment, smirked and suggested, "Sir, perhaps this is not the kind of restaurant you are looking for. The food here is quite expensive." The old man nodded in understanding, his gaze steady and uncomplaining, and quietly repeated his request for a table. Reluctantly, they led him to a small, secluded table in the farthest corner, away from the laughter and conversation. The other diners watched with raised eyebrows and whispered comments, some laughing softly behind delicate hands. No one wanted to be near him, and the waiters, usually so gracious and attentive, offered only the bare minimum, placing a menu in front of him and departing without water or a word of welcome. Yet the old man seemed undisturbed by the cold reception. He studied the menu and ordered simply, a bowl of soup and some bread. When the modest meal arrived, he thanked the waiter quietly and ate with slow intention, savoring every bite as if it were a feast. Meanwhile, the glances and whispers continued, a silent tide of judgment rolling through the room. When he finished, the old man asked for the bill. The waiter, still skeptical, presented it with a sarcastic grin, expecting the inevitable struggle. But instead, the old man reached into his worn coat and produced a thick leather wallet. He counted out crisp bills, far more than needed, and placed them on the table, adding a generous tip that exceeded the price of his meal. The waiter's face blanched and the room fell silent, curiosity and shame mingling in the air. The old man rose slowly, surveying the room with calm, clear eyes. In a voice firm yet gentle, he spoke to the assembled guests and staff. "All my life, I have eaten in places like this. Today, I chose to come not in my finest clothes, but in my oldest. Do you know why? To remind you that kindness should never depend on appearances. You served me poorly because of how I looked. But who I am and what I carry inside has nothing to do with my clothes. Respect should be given to every person, whether rich or poor." With those words, he walked out into the rain, leaving a heavy silence behind. The waiters stood with heads bowed, feeling the sting of shame. Some customers shifted uneasily, embarrassed by their own quick judgments. Moments later, the manager rushed in, his voice urgent. "Where is Mr. Thompson? Was he not here just now?" The room collectively gasped. Mr. Thompson was the town's wealthiest benefactor, the man whose generosity had built schools, hospitals, and provided shelter for those in need. That day, he had disguised himself in humble clothes not for amusement, but to teach a lesson about dignity and humanity. The story of Mr. Thompson's visit spread quickly. It was retold in homes, whispered in shops, and discussed in classrooms. The message was clear. True worth cannot be measured by outward appearances. The richest heart may beat beneath the poorest coat. The greatest wisdom may be spoken by the quietest voice. Kindness, respect, and humanity. These are the qualities that truly matter. Those who had mocked the old man found themselves changed. The waiters, once driven by judgments, began to greet every guest with warmth, regardless of attire. The customers, chastened by the experience, became more mindful of their own biases. The golden plate, once a symbol of exclusivity, transformed into a place where every person was welcomed with dignity, a place where humanity outshone wealth. Mr. Thompson's simple act had a ripple effect. The town grew closer, more compassionate. People learned to look beyond the surface, to seek the heart within. Children heard the story and understood its meaning, carrying it with them as they grew. The lesson became part of the town's fabric, woven into daily life, a reminder that respect and kindness are gifts to be offered freely, to all. Life often tempts us to judge by what we see, the clothes, the car, the house, but appearances can deceive. The poorest-looking man may possess the richest spirit. The quietest figure may carry the deepest strength. The simplest act of kindness can transform a moment, a day, or even a life. So, as you walk through the world, remember the lesson of the old man at the golden plate. Treat every person with respect, not for how they look, but for who they truly are. The heart and character that dwell within each of us are invisible, but they are the measure of our true worth. And kindness, freely given, is the golden thread that binds a community together. Let this story linger in your mind. Let it guide you in moments of judgment and choice. For in the end, it is not wealth or status, but the way we treat others that defines us. The world is richer when we look beyond the surface and see with compassion. The greatest luxury is not found in chandeliers or fine food, but in the warmth and welcome we offer to one another. Every day is a new opportunity to share kindness. Every encounter is a chance to honor the dignity of another soul. Carry this lesson with you and let your actions reflect the truth that real value lies within. In doing so, you will help create a world where everyone, regardless of appearance, is given the respect and humanity they deserve.